I recently started reading the book Sacred Pathways by Gary Thomas. And at the beginning of this book, he starts by talking about finding your own Gethsemane. And what he means by this is that Gethsemane was the place where Jesus went to meet God. It was where he would go to be refreshed, to get his marching orders, whatever it might be. It was his place where he could go and pray. And so his point is that we all need a place for that. And so evidence for this is in John 18, where it starts by saying, when he finished praying, Jesus left his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. On the other side, there was a garden, and he and his disciples went into it. Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. And so we see here that the garden wasn't just a time or a place that Jesus went to just before his arrest, but rather it was a place that Jesus went to regularly, on a regular basis. It was his place of refuge where he could go and hear from God and be in conversation with God. And in fact, maybe that's why Judas knew where to find him. He knew where he was going to be because he had gone there many times with Jesus in the past. Well, Gary Thomas in the book Sacred Pathways is now trying to say, look, all of us are going to interact with God on a different basis, on a different way. We have different ways of communicating with him. The goal for us is to find that place in life where we can connect with God. Now, sometimes that's a physical place. Sometimes that's maybe an activity that we're doing. For me, for example, I actually find it to be a great place of prayer to come in and just roam the sanctuary when it's empty. It's a place where I can come and pray out loud and just feel like I'm in God's presence. I also find the woods and a good hike to be another place where I can do that, where I can go on a hike into the woods and just be out in creation. And as I am, it's a place for me to be able to commune with God. And so the question is, where's your spot? If you don't know where your spot is, how can you begin to find that place? Now, maybe it is a physical place that you go to. Maybe it's a room in your house. Maybe it's going to your church. Maybe it's pulling out an instrument and just playing in that. All of us are going to connect with God in different ways, but it's important that we find those places that we can regularly return to, places that we know this is a spot in which we can hear our marching orders from God, which we can come to him with our requests, which we can hear him and speak to him. And so I encourage you now this week or over the next couple of weeks that if you have a place, go there regularly, just as Jesus did. And if you don't have a place, how can you begin to find it? Where can you begin to find places of prayer where you can just be in conversation with God? Amen.